Three, two, one. Boom. Yeah. It's Tuesday Trash Talk, first of 2018. So glad to be back. I kind of feel like I'm in a dream, don't you guys? A little bit. It's been too long. All right. Well, let's get this part over with. Um, let's all hail to our 2018 champion, King Bobbert himself. Uh, Good on you, man. I think that the theme last year was "You Lucky Son of a." Anyways, um, also would like to welcome our Let's Start the Chant Now first to worst, first to worst, our Sacco Mr. Kai. Hey man, really good on you for following through on accepting your punishment for being the Sacco. The stand up was fantastic. Everybody else who hasn't seen it, it is on our Discord channel. Please check it out. Totally worth it. Before we get too into everything today, definitely want to throw out some kudos to our league champion for setting up the day of draft. Man, that was super fun. I mean, think about it. The 10 of us were able to come together for the first time and be able to hold that event, maybe for even the last time. I really hope it's not. But I mean, the venues were fantastic, had a lot of fun. Matter of fact, I think the only thing that was really negative about the whole thing was my butthurtedness when I got stuck behind Daddy Grishaw driving all nice and slow. And I think I was raging out to the equivalent level of if Chris got T-boned by a Republican mother with a minivan full of chitlins that were unvaccinated, and then he went onto Facebook to share his feelings. I think that was about my level of rage. Anyways, um, go through quick reminders here. Um, our 2018 Ragnarok rules. Tebby has slashed out our two prior rules, and the only one that is in effect this year, for better or for worse, is going to be actually a social rule. And this one I kind of like. Essentially, every single week you have an expectation that you are going to contribute to the league one way or another on our Discord channel. And if you don't, well, then what your punishment's going to be is that you are going to be put in last place for waiver wires on a weekly basis. And so, to be super clear, that is, I mean, starting after the start of next week, it is going to be from the end of one Monday night game to the end of the next Monday night game. So week to week to week. And Tuesday morning, if you're not there, I am building you into the Tuesday Trash Talk, and it is going to be so much fun putting you at the ass end of the waiver wire. It's going to be great. Anywho's, I don't think I'm going to have a problem because I have this every single week. Just got to follow through. Anywho's and truths. Uh, Speaking of our Discord channels, Kai apparently doesn't really like my little tradition of having our league background photos be of Aaron Rodgers get sacked by the Vikings. I don't know why, but he did make a pretty cool logo. Please go check it out. It's just in our general discussion, aka the pit. Put some fun pieces up there for the league and giving a nod to our Ragnarok trophy and hope to make some things from there. But yeah, league logo. Who would have thought that that would happen this year? Kind of moving along. Um, da, da, da. Oh, also, team name changes. Looking at you, Kai and Chris. You guys don't have Adam Thielen. You don't have Carlos Hyde. Sorry. If you could have been awesome like Cody and actually drafted Mike Evans so you could keep the name Stairway to Evans, that's cool. But otherwise, you're just gonna have to, follow the lead of our glorious champion and change it from feeling girly McCoy to chugging Fournettes. What that implies, that's another thing, but we're moving on. Anyways, on to the next piece of business, our Frankenstein League. Yeah, guys, there's a lot of info this time, so try to keep up. But Frankenstein League, it's our experimental league. Long story short, Cody's the one running it. This is my shameless plug for it. But it's so that way we can have a little playground where we can keep this league all business, have our playground, and then furthermore, if we want to build some bench strength for if people die or decide they're not cool enough, you know, whichever comes first. I'm gonna get cooler as I get older. I'm just saying. Um, that way we can also play with some rules that aren't going to break our current league, and it's just going to be kind of for fun. It's going to be for free. Hit us up, let us know, and all those guys who are trying to chirp in my ear about having more people join our league. Personally, I'm not interested in advocating for it because this is the first perennial league that I've personally been a part of, and it just seems to keep getting better and better. And so I just want to ensure that we have a little bit of a buffer or a trial space so that way we keep that quality. That's just my opinion. Anyways, moving on, let's talk about the cash. I'm going to have to start breaking ankles. The three pairs of ankles that are safe in our league would be Grim, Chris, and myself. The $25 ankles, so I mean, I guess it's more of like a pinky toe. Going to be head hunting Mr. Tebby, Kai, and Cody. $25 boys, and then the people who owe me the full league price of 125 would be Spencer, Steve, and Kinzer, and last but not least, someone who might end up owning, I might take the whole damn leg, would be Mr. Grishaw at 155. Sir, I also need your league fees for the other one, but we're not going to talk about that. I do have a Venmo account set up. I'll put some of that information on the Discord channel. I mean, it's me. Just find Alex Glatley or just at Glatley, same guy. I've never really used Venmo before, and so if I'm doing something wrong, try not to be like my past girlfriends and actually use your words. That'd be great. Um, we're gonna keep on trucking. Let's mix it in with a little bit of fun. I got a new segment. Gonna start off with the slow burn, the ember, if you will, and this is gonna be our burn of the week. We're getting more sound effects later, I promise. I just wanted to go to bed tonight. Love all of you. Our bird of the week is going to have to be coming from our very own Sacco. Chris decided to try to float out some vague trade offers to the league and announce that his top three players were not to be touched. And then asking for a QB running back. Are we talking bench? Are we not? Anyways, Kai came back and was like, "Oh yeah, great. Let's all give up our best QB and running back for a couple of Chris's bench players." And so I thought that was a pretty spicy burn. Um, it wasn't a mighty burn. It was more like a level 8 Charmander who just learned Ember burn. Um, but we'll see it coming. I can't wait to put more on later in the season. And also thank you, Chris, for being our sacrifice. Um, all right, keep on knocking things out. A couple more league updates. Kai is our official league custodian on our Discord channel. He's doing a fantastic job of it. Everyone give him a round of applause for that. We do have our league channel up on YouTube, and so that's going to be great. That's where you're going to find Kai's stand up. You're going to find all of the weekly Tuesday trash talks on there as well. And a couple other people apparently outside the league want to check it out too, and so that's where they can be removed from our shenanigans on Discord. So hit the subscribe, get the little bell, and you get a little ding a ling. Um, when, when that comes out, I really need to think through what I'm about to say, especially when we're putting it on video. Anyways, we're gonna keep on rocking and rolling. Da, da, da. Oh, also upgrading equipment. Got a brand new camera with some new mics, and so I'm sorry if the audio and the sound is a little bit off. Still getting my ground, still figuring things out. Got a brand new computer, all that stuff. Humble brag. But yeah, I think this year is going to be a lot of fun, and we should, at the very least, be entertained. Um, if, Here's a notice for our league bet board. Put a couple suggestions on there. Looks like Tabby's pretty antsy to get a few bets out on Chris. Go ahead, check that out. I also put a little thing called the Wheel of Water, and and that app looks entertaining as hell. Put a bet in for a water, and if you lose, you'll get a glass of water dumped on you. Whatever. Humiliating enough where the rest of your league mates will find value in it. I promise you. So I recommend checking that out. And that information is all on our league bets page. Moving along here, I was going to be having a guest speaker. However, the timing didn't really work out as far as my guest speaker being in state. And so I just got some quick questions from Mr. Grishaw. Thank you very much for being my honorary guest thing. Um, let's go over some questions, shall we? Um, so the first question would have to be around the podcast. Well, it's kind of a two-parter. It's what do you want to see from the podcast, and what do you want to what hopes do you have for the league as far as changes? Um, the first request was to have weekly podcast guests. I would love to have weekly podcast guests as well. But yeah, I'll be reaching out to you guys throughout the week or throughout the season rather, and I'm gonna really try to keep everything super low key, so that way you'll have a little bit more of an impact when this kind of thing airs Tuesday night. Um, so yeah, look forward to hearing from you guys, and I hope you find time to fit in and get a couple words on your league mates. Um, for Will's league hope is to go back to getting rid of the tight end position and creating a flex. I see where he's coming from. I see that it gives you a lot more versatility as far as how you can manage your team. Like, oh, cool, I'm just going to grab another couple running backs, or oh, cool, I'm just going to grab another couple wide receivers. Um, that was kind of one of the reasons why we got rid of it in the first place, in my understanding of it. And our waiver wires were decimated. That's also why we only have 5-man bench with an IR. Even most 12-team leagues have 6, but we're that competitive, okay? Where that might not be a super awesome thing, I guess. But long story short is kind of my counter to that is I would super advocate for having a wide receiver 3 spot next year. I think that's kind of the direction Will's trying to go is just getting a little bit more meat, more girth to our teams, and I would enjoy that quite a bit. But I like that tight end strategy because a lot of teams, I mean, we have to have either spend a high draft pick or have one or two tight ends floating around on the bench too. So it makes it interesting at the very least, brings another dynamic. Um, Anywho's, the next question is about our bench MVPs. And so Will's bench MVP is Marquise Goodwin. Cool. I can definitely see that. Um, I mean Marquise Goodwin, he definitely started picking up a lot more from his transition from the Bills to the San Francisco 49ers. Is he going to win you the league? Remain to be seen. Reminder, all that super and crazy, insane, excited that everyone is having for Jimmy Handsome and his handsome throws and his handsome wins at the end of last year. He never once cracked 25 points. In fact, I think he only hit 20 once. And then with Marquise Goodwin, he only got one touchdown with Jimmy Garoppolo, and that touchdown came in week 17. So super helpful. Just careful about that one, Will I am. So we had a little bit of breaking news, and this would be the point where I would have a little sound gif of glass breaking or something like that. I know you all are probably super disappointed, hoping that I would actually like grab a bottle and just go, shh. But the only bottle I have is ooh, we're not going to show that. We're not going to show the kids that. But Alex's friend Jameson is over, and he's giving him a lot of encouragement because this is take three. Wink. Um, moving on. So, anyways, my breaking news is about my MVP, my bench MVP, and my bench MVP was Chris Hogan. Well, surprise. Yours truly and our league champion. We completed our first trade of 2018, and so now my MVP on the bench is actually going to be. Oh, I'm trying to do this on the fly. That's never a good thing. My MVP is going to have to be Josh Gordon, or my as my very real guest would say, Joshua. Yeah, Joshua's going to be the real deal. I'm not really worried about the time that they're taking for him to get back. All the reports I'm reading seem like he's trying to get right in the head. And then when you go and look at his stats, he didn't have a handsome man throwing him the football on a Kyle Shanahan system that is all about turning people like Carlos Hyde into a pass catching running back. Carlos Hyde's not a pass catching running back. But Josh Gordon is now on Todd Haley's offense, and Todd Haley used to run the Squealers offense. So this is going to be pretty fun. Um, Even in that terrible system that he was in, being thrown to by terrible quarterbacks, Josh still put up some solid numbers. I mean, he only got one touchdown, but he still got at least 3 receptions per game through the entire year, and or from his time back, and almost got 100 yards on every single week. So I'm feeling pretty solid about Mr. Joshua. Um, yeah, and those are MVPs. On to the third question. So the third question, I'm a little bit more entertained by because it's what I wanted to have. I wanted to hear. Okay, who do you think has the best team in the league right now? During my trade with Mr. Tebby, he also found out that I wanted the opinion. And so here was his take. I'll do him first. So our league champion thinks that the best team in the league would be Greek Steve. I completely see why. Aaron Rodgers, David Johnson, Jordan Howard, and Michael Thomas. Uh, um, uh, I don't pray for injuries, but on that team I sure do. That's a very stacked team. Kind of some pieces that I'm not a huge fan of. Golden Tate, just super inconsistent. He turns 30 this year. Tyler Eifert, in his heyday, he was amazing. He was Gronkian, even, Mr. Eifert. Deion Lewis, the Tennessee Titans. If Matt LaFleur can really bring that offense to its glory, great. I haven't seen it this preseason. And then bench has got some pretty solid looking kids in there. Um, and so that's the piece with Steve's. Not for nothing, Steve. Solid drafting, sir. Very solid drafting. Um, to keep on keeping on though, um, for Will's number one team, he goes, which I find interesting that everyone picked different teams, by the way. Um, he chose the team of Spencer, which is itching that Vic, man. Itching that Vic real hard. My Vic is so itchy. Apparently, Will's Vic itches for you, Spencer. That's right. But I mean, it's a very solid lineup. We got Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, Jimmy Graham. Oof. Got a few more breaths out than Steve did on those first few. Where I see Spencer's team being hurt in a really bad way is that it's a very boom bust team. If you go back and look at a lot of the different stats for Christian McCaffrey, Diggs, Hill, especially Hill, Hill was Mister every other week. I'm gonna bust you. I know because I'm a Tyreek Hill truther and I absolutely love Hill. Um, but man, when he goes off 25, 30 points, whatever. Um, so we'll see, Spence. The only other piece I have against your team really is your running back depth, like Alvin Kamara, amazing Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that's damn near two top 10 running backs. But then it's Tavon Coleman is your next RB, your next and only RB after that. So if anything were to go awry or you're going to run into some issue with bye weeks, it's going to be a long season for you, Spence. So look at what assets you have right now, and I see a couple people that would be very interested in helping you out in trades, possibly. Um, and then so for my last one, I did do our most honorable and glorious leader, Mr. Tebby. Changed up a little bit and kind of a funny story. So I was actually in the midst of writing this, and I just finished my piece on Tebby. And the last thing I wrote, because I felt he was too running back heavy, even with such a solid team, was that what are you gonna trade, bro? As soon as I put that question mark down, I shit you not, my fantasy app rings and boom, trade offer for flipping Chris Hogan. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. The stars aligned. We hashed it out a little bit, and I feel like we made moves that really helped our team out. I mean, now you look at Tebby's team, and it goes he can either put in Russell or Stafford, which is a pretty solid rotation. But then he continues to have Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, two top 10 running backs, solid. T.Y. Hilton, possibly the number one wide receiver. Chris Hogan, represent. Delaney Walker, as long as old man stays healthy, but then in Doug Baldwin too. On those weeks where you have that Doug Baldwin, Russell Wilson stack, that's going to be a huge issue. God, that stack just bothers me on so many different levels. But then you go into his bench, and he has Derrick Henry, Jamison Crowder, Sony Michelle, and Nelson Aguilar. I don't know, guys. It's a pretty stuck team, even after a couple injuries roll through. I don't see Tebby slowing down anytime soon. Um, so that's why that's why his team's my number one post draft. Um, Nito. Tradition's so important to me, and so that's why we must continue the tradition of. Who smelt it, dealt it. That's right. Where there are great romantic smells, such as the waft of Tebby's illustrious team, or Spencer's tender, delicious players, or Steve's solid, hard hitting team, there's also going to be a stinky side. And there were some stinkers. So let's start out with not just our league champions pick for the smelliest, but also my guest speaker's smelliest. And that would have to be Mr. Matthew Kinzer. Congratulations, sir. You have earned the acknowledgement of two people thinking that your team sucks. Not just sucks, but the worst in the league. Let's try to figure out why. Um, I mean, Tom Brady, Saquon Barkley, Kenyon Drake, AJ Green, Jarvis Landry, Travis Kelsey, Rex Burkhead, Cam Newton. Mm, yeah, that bench isn't super great, so we're not going to talk about it. Um, I will acknowledge that you got your boyfriend Justin Tucker. That's really cute. So at the very least, you'll have your romance throughout the year, and that'll be nice. Um, how I equate this is it looks like Kinzer, you went thrift shopping for your team. But this is what your team looks like every single year, and so I understand where you're going with it. You like to roll the dice and you like to try to hit the things that are trending on the upward, and every member of your team has an upward trend. I can't lie. If every single player hits on Kinzer's team, they're not just going to be thrift shopping, they're going to be popping tags. And that's how you get a trophy. Um, anything else? I have some other things that I could extrapolate on, but me giving Kinzer's team praise was not a wedding present. That's just legitimately how I feel. And I played enough fantasy football against him for the last 5 years to typically see how his teams shake out. And usually he's the sleeper that comes behind in playoffs, and you will hate losing against him. Not that I know. Anyways, moving on. So my stinkiest of the smelliest bunch of all you chitlins, you little rascals running around. Um, Congratulations to Mr. Matt Graham. I think I hold you in the highest esteem of stinkiness. Just take away, let's just go ahead and take away the fact that you have Ezekiel Elliott on your team. Dude, your starters scare me. And not like I'm scared for your well-being, your safety, as your belief in yourself as a fantasy football team manager. Dude, it's a rough look, man. I mean, really what it boiled down to, and I think this is it, is that on the 18th pick overall, you scooped up Duke Johnson. And on your 23rd pick, well, on the 23rd pick overall, so this is the second and third round, you then picked up Ty Montgomery. Yeah. So first off, I'm going to say you could have picked both of them up closer to the 10th round than you did the first round. Um, Second, I know why, because you explained this. Because when I was very drunk watching you do this, I cried for you a little bit, and you said, "Don't worry, they were my boys. They got me through the year last year, and I almost won. Almost, almost. They have the upside, buddy. Best of luck." Um, my only worry with your stalwart running back, your big old Studley Zeke's, I mean, he's going to be the anchor of your team if you're going to be getting wins. And I'm nervous. And here's my argument. My argument is that there was only one running back won last year that was on a losing team, and that was Shady. Shady was still, even though that team sucked, like really sucked, because they had no idea what they were doing. They still have the number 6 offensive line in the NFL. So that's not there anymore. Half that team or half that offensive line either moved out or retired. And so for me, Shady's really not looking great this year. Zeke more or less has the exact same situation. Dak still doesn't know where his balls went, and their offensive line's getting decimated. They already have 2 of their top Pro Bowlers more or less done for the year. He can't do it all. He cannot do it all. I mean, Zeke is a generational talent. I'll give you that. Um, but man, having that man in that situation and he's the one that's shouldering your team, you better send him some very nice flowers. But I think if you touched them with your team, they'd probably die because you smell bad. And that's it for this week, guys. Thank you all so much for supporting and giving me the props to keep going with this. It just makes me that much more excited. I am super excited for next week, where it's going to be week 1, Tuesday Trash Talk. That's right, 1 week away, guys. Um, can't wait. I love you all. See you on the gridiron, boys. Take care. Stop.